Hi everyone, my name's Kendall and welcome back. This week we are going to finish up our Oh My Stars sew along by completing the rest of the rows and adding the outside border. This week we also say goodbye to the lovely Norm. He is headed off to parts unknown. I'm going to drop him at the airport this afternoon once filming is done. So if you haven't done so already, jump over to Pat's website, ilovetomakequilts.com. Grab the free Oh My Stars pattern, come back here and we'll show you how to do it. Just a quick recap from last week. We had all of our charm squares. We did our star points with the sew and flip. Here I am at the sewing machine. Then we add a second star point. Then once all of those were done, I created stacks of my rows and made the star points for the blocks in the border. Now we're ready to commence sewing our rows together. As you may remember from last week's video, I had my stacks of rows already together, and I'm showing you here that I have them together, and I'm referring back to my chart, or if you took a photo of your layout, to ensure that I'm sewing them together in the right order. So that saw me get to the end of the first row, and as you can see I have my stacks opposed a little bit so I know when I get to the next row. So I went through and sewed the whole thing together, constantly referencing back to my chart to ensure I had the right layout. I will press all of these in opposite directions. Once they're finished, I'm going to sew them together in sets of 2 and then we'll meet you back. Whoops, it looked like my camera slipped at the end of that last clip, and what you can see me doing here now is sewing the first 2 rows together. As I said before, I'm going to sew them together in lots of 2 and then join the lots of 2 together. I started doing this without pins and I got to about here and I'm like, this will go a lot quicker if I pin this ahead of time. So here we are at the large cutting table, and you can see here that I have all my rows of 2 joined together. So now, as I said before, I'm going to put sets of 2 together to make 4, the sets of 4 together to make 8, etc, etc. So all I'm doing here is making sure that I've got the right ones, lining up my stars and getting them ready to sew. And you'll notice at the end here that I have 1 row of 2 left over. We will take care of that in the next step.
A few moments later.
And abracadabra alakazam, we have all our rows sewn together, all our stars look beautiful, and once I do a slow reveal downwards, we can move on to tackling the pieced border. Okay, for my border strips, I'm going to use my quilt strip die. Not sponsored, love to. So you just see me here measuring the width, cutting the amount of yardage I need, which is going to give me way more strips than I actually need, but I can use them for something else. I then fold it down to create the 6 layers, place it on the die cut, pass it through the machine, and we're done in moments. So now that we got those strips cut and oh so fast, I really do use my strip dies the most from my quilt. I've got my reference chart again, and because I'm doing the larger version, all my strip sizes will be different, but if you cut yours exactly to the pattern, then your borders will be perfect. So all I'm doing here is cutting my strips to length, pinning them together, and getting them ready to sew. So I've now got all my borders sewn together, and it's time to attach them to the outside of the quilt. And this is just done the same way as any other border, except in this instance we have to pay attention to matching our star points so that they look as nice as possible. So with this we start with the top, then the bottom, and then put on both sides, and we will be done. And after one final press, we're done to the point of the pattern. I'm actually going to be adding 2 more borders to mine, and as I stated at the beginning, I did the larger lap version from the paid pattern. And as you can see here, it makes a beautiful toga. Thanks for joining me again this week, folks. We'll be back next week.